Hello, wherever this is Jane's Videos, and I am back with another Spirit Halloween 2021 animatronic review, and this one is on the ghost with the most, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. This guy is such a cool prop, and if you notice, my lighting for this review is very different. I'm not doing the normal white light, because for one, he just looks cooler with this, but also I just feel like a character like Beetlejuice, I just want to have the proper lighting throughout the whole review. And I also noticed, let me know in the comments below if you actually like this better for the reviews, for it to be colored lighting or white lighting, because I usually do white lighting because you can see details better, but I noticed even with the colored lighting you can still see the details and see how the prop is. And it also shows you what different options you could do with lighting for the prop. So let me know in the comments below if you like this or if you want me to continue doing white lighting on these reviews. Really not too big of a deal, but let me know what you think. So, with that out of the way, here he is. This guy is being sold at Spirit Halloween for 2021 and retailing for $279.99. More on the price later and my opinions on that. But first off, let's jump right in to talking about the detail on this absolutely fantastic animatronic. It's super exciting that we finally have a Beetlejuice prop. I mean, yes, you can argue there are a few other Beetlejuice animatronics in existence, but between you and me and basically everyone else, those props are horrible. Also, I don't really count them because they aren't really, well, for one, they're horrible, but also, this is the first one ever at Spirit Halloween, which is pretty surprising since Beetlejuice is such a classic Halloween movie. It's just very surprising that this is the first Beetlejuice we've ever gotten. And he's a really great one. I mean, just everything about him, I love him. At first, I was like, I still love him because it's Beetlejuice, one of my favorite films of all time. I still loved him because I was like, oh, it's Beetlejuice, I have to love him. But when I first saw the video, I didn't think he was going to be as good as I actually like him now. Even at Flagship, because the Flagship one looked kind of weird, I was like, eh. But now that I own him, just love him. He's definitely one of the coolest licensed props I've ever think we've gotten. He's one of the most screen accurate. I know a lot of people complain that he doesn't look screen accurate. To me personally, I think he looks very screen accurate. I mean, and that's why I mentioned that, so we can jump in on the detail. I mean, look at his face. He looks just like Beetlejuice. It's fantastic. He's got, of course, the purple around his eyes. Obviously, you have those great Crazy Create eyes. This guy is made by Crazy Create. You've got those great eyes that they've been doing, and really, Crazy Create always knocks it out of the ballpark with their detail. Also, they don't really do light-up eyes all the time, so that's a good thing, because light-up eyes aren't the best. Love the eyes on this guy. His mouth looks great, his teeth, there's a lot of detail to be seen here. You've also got all of the mold on his face, of course, like Beetlejuice has. You have it there, and then I'll move around over here so you can see all of the other mold and everything that fits the character. You've got his hair, which also has some different coloring in it. You've got the normal coloring that's usually on Beetlejuice's hair, but you've also got a little bit of green and stuff in there, just like Beetlejuice usually has, so it's good that they added that to the prop. Moving down to the clothes, there's not much to say about them because they're just what you'd expect Beetlejuice to have. His basic black and white pinstripe suit, you got his tie, and then I'll move down to his pants in a minute to show you those. But yeah, it's basically what you'd expect Beetlejuice to have, but it does look great, very screen accurate. And let me just show his stature here, which I'll talk about that a little bit more in just a second. But first I want to show his hands. I'm going to show this hand right here. I'm not going to show the other one because they're basically the same, but I wanted to show this one in particular for one reason that makes them different, is that this one has the ring. So that's cool. Very good added detail, and it really shows how much detail goes into this prop. Because the fact that they added the ring is great, because that's not even something that I even knew that he wore in the movie up until I got this prop. And you may be thinking, well, yeah, when he gets married, but this is before he gets married. This prop was actually taken from a specific point in the movie of him in a specific pose on this specific tombstone. It's one point in the movie, and it was taken from that scene, and he does have the ring in it. I went back and watched that scene, and I was like, oh wow, I never even noticed that. But the hands do look great. They've got some veins and stuff on them. Detail isn't amazing, but they really don't have to be. They're just basic white hands like Beetlejuice. His pants are just what you'd expect, the black and white pinstripe, but I still want to show them. I like the pose they're in, and they actually look very real. His legs do. I really like the pose they're in here, how it's bent at the knee here, and he's sitting on the tombstone. It looks very real. The whole prop looks pretty realistic. of course, right here we have one of the key focal points about this prop is the Tombstone, which, like I mentioned, this is from a specific point in the movie where the Tombstone looks just like this. It has that shaking hands and everything. It's just so awesome that they went that far into detail to add that. They honestly could have just done the easy way out and not made it from that specific scene, but clearly based off of it, but literally just put the Here Lies Beetlejuice Tombstone. They could have done that, or they could have just done a basic Tombstone. They went all the way and actually made it look exactly like it does in that scene. And it's one of those things that when you're watching the movie, it's one of those things that a lot of people probably don't even notice is that the Tombstone has that on it. So the fact they added it to the prop is really great. And it shows how good this prop is. The Tombstone has a lot of cracks on it. It is a hard plastic. Looks really good. And while we're down here, let's move on to his shoes, which look great. They do. They're just plastic. They're very hard plastic, though, so they should last a while. They're not a cheap, flimsy material. They look good. They are his boots, of course, and you can have his pants tucked in or out. Obviously, I have them tucked in because that's how he wears them, but it's up to your preference. Now, one reason a lot of people don't like this prop is just because of how unnatural the movement looks. But when you have his arms posed like this, because his arms are posable, it looks fine, because actually, this is how he poses in the movie in that scene. However, for some reason, Spirit really screwed themselves over by making him look as bad as possible, which is really weird because usually Spirit would try to make the props look as good as possible in their promotional stuff, but for some reason on the box picture, in the way that they set him up in stores, the videos, the pictures that are official, they have his arms straight out in front of him, so he looks like a robot when he moves side to side, and it just makes no sense. I don't understand why they would do that, because you can pose his arms. They really screwed themselves over with that, because that was something that I know got a lot of people to not like him too much, and it was something that I didn't like about him when I first saw the video, but then I thought, oh, they're probably posable. But I think they really screwed themselves over by doing that. I don't know why on earth they would pose them in such a bad way. But what I wanted to mention is he is posable, and as you can see, he looks so much better when he's posed like he should be. He looks just like he's from the movie when he's posed like this, and I think it looks way, way better. The other way doesn't look good. I will admit that. The prop would not look as good if you posed them that other way, because it would look so weird. This way looks perfect. I will mention his movement still is unnatural, the way he moves side to side like that. But I don't really know what else they could have done other than head turning, and then that would have been a little bit too, though it would have been the same amount of animation, it wouldn't have been as grandier as the side to side moving, and it wouldn't have been as noticeable, and so I don't think it would have been worth the $280 price tag as much. Which, I will say, I don't think it's worth the $280 price tag. I'll say that right off the bat. I think $250 definitely would have been better for him, though he is licensed and he is really big. It's still a pretty hefty price to pay, and the fact that it's the same price as Grimm, which uses a servo motor, I don't get. However, it's not too bad. If you really want a Beetlejuice, this is probably the best Beetlejuice we're ever going to get, so I say go for it. I don't think it's too bad. It just could have been cheaper. But he's very screen accurate, and he also has movie accurate audio, which the two other Beetlejuices that we've gotten in the past, the one from Morbid Enterprises and the one from Jemmy, the one from Morbid looks horrible, and the audio is some random guy imitating Beetlejuice. The one from Jemmy looks horrible, the animation is horrible. However, it has movie accurate audio, so that's the one thing I'm going to give it. This one looks great, animation is great. Well, it's good. It's not great, but it's good. And it has movie accurate audio. So it is the best Beetlejuice we've ever gotten and ever will get, I'm going to assume, because it is really good. I can't really see how they do one better. I don't know, but this is a really, really good one, and I'm going to put it in action for you right now.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little, anxious, if you know what I mean. Damn, that's 600 years after all. I wonder where a guy, an everyday Joe like myself, can find a little action. Now, let's turn on the juice and see what shakes loose. Woo! Thank you! That is why I won't do 2 shows a night anymore, babe. I won't do. Hey, these aren't my rules. Come to think of it, I don't have any rules. I didn't, Julia. I graduated Harvard Business School. I traveled quite extensively. I lived through the Black Plague, and I had a pretty good time during that. I've seen The Exorcist about 167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it. I'm the ghost with the most, babe. So, say your love, say it twice, learn down the charm. Just say it. It's showtime. You know, you look like somebody I'm hearing late too. Maybe you could help me get out of here, you know, because I gotta tell you, this death thing, it's just too creepy. See, here's my problem. I got these friends on the outside that I said I'd meet, you know, and that's the kind of thing I have to be there in person, you know, so I was just wondering, could you help me get out of here? Yeah. I'm feeling a little, anxious, if you know what I mean. That must have been your years after all. I wonder where a guy, an everyday Joe like myself, can find a little action. Now, let's turn on the juice and see what shakes loose.
So, he has some great animation there. It's very, very fluent. And it's pretty cool, too. The side to side, though it is a little unnatural, it kind of fits the character the way they programmed it, because sometimes he turns only a little bit and then he turns a little bit more. It gives him a lot of character the way they programmed it, because it's not just side to side like basic. It's got a little character, how it stops and it starts again, and sometimes it goes one way and then it goes the other. It's you know what I mean, you saw it. But and his mouth movement is very good too, which I'm surprised about, because in the video it doesn't look that good, but it's actually really, really good. He's got some great animation, and obviously phrases are super. They are exactly from the movie, and they picked some of the best phrases from the movie. My favorite phrase he has is actually the "Can you help me get out of here" one, because it's literally like perfect how they included that entire phrase, because that is one of the funniest phrases in the movie, how he starts going on about meeting his friends and stuff. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. And I am so happy that they included that entire phrase. It just adds a lot of character to him. It's not like one little snippet from the movie. He speaks entire monologues from the movie, and it's great. I love it. What a fantastic prop. And if you love Beetlejuice, it's just one that you have to get. I mean, I would suggest not missing out on it. Who knows if he'll return? He might, but he might not, and he's one that, when he does stop being sold, he's one that will definitely be worth a lot in the future, and you'll be happy to say that you own a Beetlejuice. So if you like Beetlejuice, go ahead and get him while you can. He's a great animatronic, and I am super pleased to own him. Definitely one of my favorites of the year. I think he might have actually surpassed some of my other favorites, but I'm not 100% sure. He is a great prop, though. A little bit pricey, but not too pricey to the point where it's ridiculous. It's just kind of, could be better. He's a great prop. Highly, highly recommend him. I'd give him a 9 out of 10. He's a fantastic one. So if you like Beetlejuice, go ahead and pick this guy up while you can. He's not lasting long, so I mean, he might return next year. I don't know, though. But I know that when he gets in stock at stores, he does seem to sell out pretty fast. So get him while you can, especially with the limited stock this season. I hope you all enjoyed this review of The Ghost with the Most. Keep howling the moon, my werewolves.